I think I've been asking the wrong question. And maybe you have too. You've put in the work, you stayed focused, you stayed disciplined, you were devoted. At some point, you may have even become obsessed with the journey. But despite everything you've done, one question keeps following you. When, and I do mean when will it finally get easier? I think that's the wrong question. Because what if life doesn't become easier? What if you simply become stronger? And what if the real challenge isn't the difficulty of the journey? What if the real challenge is continuing the journey while surrounded by people who cannot see what you see? They tell you it's too risky. They tell you it won't work. They tell you, won't you just be realistic? But what they may actually be saying is, I cannot see myself doing it. So I cannot imagine you doing it either. And if you're not careful, you'll begin wearing their limitations as if they belong to you. You will start living the life someone else decided was safe enough, realistic enough, and possibly enough for you. But is that really your life? Or have you been wearing someone else's? Before we move in today's conversation, if you're ready to move forward beyond certifications and become the leader your team deserves, please check out the Project Management Lab. It exists to help project managers replace uncertainty with confidence, strengthen their leadership, and become a professional they know they're capable of becoming. Now, let's talk about who gets to decide what is possible for your life. Before Jeff Bezos built Amazon, he had what most people would consider a great career. He was working at D.E. Shaw, a respected investment firm. When he decided he wanted to leave and build an online bookstore, his boss didn't tell him it was a bad idea. In fact, he told Bezos it sounded like a good idea, but perhaps a better idea for someone who did not really have a good job. Family, listen to what was underneath that advice. Why would you risk something proven for something nobody can guarantee? Bezos had already decided whether he was going to protect the life he already had or pursue the possibility he could see. He imagined himself as 80 years old and asked which decision he would regret more. Would he regret leaving a good job or would he regret never trying? And then, my God, 50 Cent. Before his first album could be released, he was shot 9 times. His album was canceled, and Columbia Records I guess they decided to drop him. The traditional path into music industry appeared to be over, but instead of waiting for the industry to reconsider him, he kept creating. He released mixtapes. He developed his sound. He built his audience. He continued putting in set and reps until his work reached Eminem and became too powerful for the industry to ignore. Two completely different people, two completely different industries, but both had to make the same decision. Will I accept what someone else believes is possible for me, or will I continue building what I can already see? And then there's your boy ED. I've had people tell me creating content would never work. They looked at the views. They looked at the subscribers. They looked at the money and decided that the journey was not producing enough, but they were missing the wrong transformation. They were focused on how much money the content had produced. I was focused on who the content was producing. Every episode gave me another set. Every short gave me another rep. Every time I stepped in front of this camera, I became clearer, sharper, more confident, and more capable of communicating an idea that could change and transform someone's life. My goal is not simply to become a content creator. I am aiming to become one of the greatest speakers to ever do it. And let me be clear, I am still on that journey. Do I believe the money will come? Absolutely. But while other people are watching the scoreboard they can't control, I am putting in the sets and reps that I can control. They're evaluating today's results. I'm building tomorrow's speaker. Here's a reflection, family. Have you ever abandoned something meaningful because someone else could not see its value yet? Not because you stopped believing, not because the vision disappeared, but because their doubt became louder than your conviction. Maybe they genuinely believed that they were protecting you, but good intentions do not automatically make someone qualified to determine what is possible for your life. I will say that one more time, but good intentions do not automatically make someone qualified to determine what is possible for your life. What if the resistance you're experiencing is not evidence that you should stop? What if it's the training required to become the person your vision needs? Principle number 1, resistance is where resilience begins. How many times have you asked yourself, when will leading this team become easier? When will building this business become easier? When will creating content become easier? When? When will my life become easier? Maybe it won't. Mm-mm. Maybe the resistance is part of the training. If you've ever worked out before, then you already understand the resistance first. There's the resistance to start the exercise. I know that's been me. Your mind gives you every reason to wait, skip, or, hey, we'll just come back tomorrow. Then there's a resistance you feel while you're doing the exercise. Your muscles begin to burn. Your body tells you that you had enough, but you still have 3 more reps to complete. And finally, there's the resistance that follows the exercise, the soreness, the fatigue, the reminder that your body was pushed beyond what it had become comfortable doing. But we do not enter the gym expecting to become stronger by avoiding resistance. Resistance is the very thing that produces the strength we came there to build. So why do we expect life to develop us without challenging us? The resistance you feel while building the business, leading the project, creating content, or becoming someone new may not be evidence that you should stop. It may be evidence that the training has just begun. The first episode doesn't feel like the 100th because the 100th video is being delivered by a different version of you. The conversation may still be difficult, but you've become more courageous. The responsibility may still be heavy, but you've become capable of carrying more. The uncertainty may still exist, but you no longer require certainty before taking action. That is strength. Strength is not reaching a point where nothing challenges you. Strength is becoming the person who no longer needs every challenge to disappear. Here's the lesson, family. Stop waiting for the road to become easier before you move forward. The difficulty may be developing the capacity your next level actually requires. Here's 2 actionable tips I'd love for you to experiment with. Tip number 1. First, when you encounter resistance, stop asking, why is this happening to me? Instead, ask, what is this requiring me to develop? That's good, family. Tip number 2. Document what is easier for you today than it was 6 months ago. Sometimes growth becomes invisible because you keep comparing yourself to the destination instead of comparing yourself to the person you used to be. Here's my professional advice. In your career, do not automatically confuse discomfort with misalignment. Sometimes you're uncomfortable because something is wrong, because sometimes you are uncomfortable because you're growing into the responsibility you never carried before. Learn how to recognize the difference. But becoming stronger does not mean ignoring every voice around you. Some feedback can protect you. Some feedback can improve your strategy. And some feedback can expose something you genuinely need to address. The danger, though, begins when someone else's opinion stops being information you evaluate and becomes a story you repeatedly tell yourself. But what happens when the greatest resistance is no longer the difficulty in front of you, but the voice inside you repeating what someone else said was possible? Principle number 2, stop replaying someone else's story. Oh, this is good, family. Stop replaying someone else's story. What happens when someone tells you your idea will not work? You may disagree with them in the moment, but later, when the results are slow, that voice returns. Maybe they were right. Maybe I was wasting my time. Maybe I'm not capable of that thought. The conversation happened once, but you've replayed it 100 times over and over and over. That's how another person's opinions becomes your internal story. Eventually, you stop hearing their voice because it starts sounding like your own. But their inability to see the vision is not evidence that the vision is impossible. They may be evaluating your dream using their risk tolerance, their experience, their fear, and their understanding of success. They are describing what they would do. That does not automatically determine what you should do. And this is where we must be careful. Believing in your vision does not mean refusing to listen. Conviction is not the same as denial. If someone identifies a genuine problem with your plan, address it. If the market is telling you that the approach needs to change, pay attention. If the evidence reveals that something is not working, well, pivot and adjust. But there's a difference between someone saying, here's the risk you need to address, and someone saying, I would never try that, so neither should you. One is feedback. The other may be projection. Your responsibility, your accountability is to know the difference. Here's the lesson, family. Do not allow someone's temporary opinion to become your permanent identity. Ooh, that's good, family. Their perspective is information to evaluate, not an instruction you are required to obey. Experiment with these 2 actionable tips. When someone questions your direction, ask, Did this person identify a specific risk I can address, or did they just simply tell me what they would never attempt? Tip number 2, rewrite the statement. Replace, they said I couldn't do this with, they cannot see it yet. That one word matters more than you can think. Yet. Again, I'll say it again. They cannot see it yet. Here's my professional advice, family. Strong leaders listen without surrendering their judgment. You can respect someone's perspective, examine their evidence, adjust your approach, and still decide that their conclusion does not belong to you. But I get it. Believing that something is possible is only the beginning. Belief without repetition is just potential. You still have to do the work. You still have to complete the set. You still have to put in the reps. When the results are small, the applause is quiet. And nobody, and I mean nobody, else understands what those repetitions are producing inside of you. If you stop living by someone else's limitations, are you willing to keep working before the results give anyone a reason to believe in you? Principle number 3, my favorite. Respect the sets and reps. We live in a world obsessed with visible results. How many views did I get? How much money did you make? How many people bought it? Did you get promoted? Did the business work? Those questions are not wrong, but I must warn you, they are incomplete because some work produces an external result immediately, while other work produces the person who eventually creates that result. Every presentation is a rep. Every difficult conversation is a rep. Every episode is a rep. Every proposal that does not close can still sharpen how to communicate your value. Every project that challenges you can still develop your leadership. The result may not be visible, but that does not mean nothing is happening. People may be evaluating today's numbers while you are building tomorrow's capacity. That does not mean numbers do not matter. It means that numbers do not always tell the entire story yet. You may not have the audience you want, but your message is becoming clear. You may not have the revenue you want, but your offer is becoming stronger. You may not have the title you want, but your leadership is becoming more capable. You might not even reach the destination, but you are no longer the person who started the journey. Do not disrespect what the repetitions are creating simply because the financial return has not arrived yet. They were focused on how much money the content had produced. And I was focused on who the content was producing. Here's a lesson, family. Not every valuable result can be measured immediately. Sometimes the most important product of the work is the person the work is creating. Experiment with these 2 actionable tips. Tip number 1, create a development scoreboard alongside your results scoreboard. Yes, measure views, revenue, subscribers, promotions, and completed projects, but also measure consistency, confidence, clarity, capability, and repetitions completed. Actionable tip number 2, define the skill each repetition is developing. Don't just simply say, I created another episode. Say, I completed another repetition in storytelling, delivery, and audience connection. Don't just simply say, I led another meeting. Say, I completed another repetition in facilitation, decision-making, and stakeholder communication. When you understand what the repetition is developing, the work stops feeling wasted. Here's my professional advice, family. Organization measures outcomes because outcomes matter, but sustainable outcomes come from developed people, repeatable behaviors, and stronger capabilities. Learn to measure both what the work delivered and who the work developed. If the money, recognition, promotion, or visible results have not arrived yet, can you still recognize the person the journey is producing? Here's my final reflection, family. I love how Denzel Washington reframes problems as opportunities. When someone says, I have a problem, his response is essentially, well, what an opportunity you have. Because the problem is not only something standing in your way, it's also opportunity to become the person capable of overcoming it. So maybe the question is not, when will this become easier? Maybe the better question is, who is this difficulty giving me the opportunity to become? Jeff Bezos was not simply building an online bookstore. 50 Cent wasn't just releasing another mixtape. And I'm not just simply recording another episode. We're all responding to the possibility that other people may not understand yet. So let them evaluate today's results. You keep putting in the sets and reps, because while they are deciding whether what you are doing will work, you're becoming the person who will make it work. Here's my closing. If you're ready to move forward beyond certifications and become the leader your team deserves, the Project Manager Lab exists to help project managers replace uncertainty with confidence. I've included some resources in the description to help you continue your journey toward becoming the project manager and leader you want to become. I want to say this. Stop wearing someone else's limitations. You have your own life to build. So next time, I want you to keep this in mind, fam. Keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep building. Just one brick at a time. And remember, sets and reps beat talent when talent doesn't do the reps. If you're new to the episode, I go by the name of ED. For all you smart and intelligent folks out there, hey, listen. That just simply means Ed. Until next time.